Welcome back to Empowered. I'm Elizabeth Namofsky. Canada's sleeping economic giant, the female entrepreneur, is today's topic. Okay, Wendy, we were talking about a model before we went to the commercial break, and I can't remember what the model was.
It's Salutogenic, a big fancy name. Just know that the healthcare system we have in Canada is really disease care. This model is the opposite. And so it asks the question of us every day, while we're taking care of illness, what are you doing to cause your best well-being? Not what am I going to do to manage my risk factors for cancer, for example. You can have both perspectives in your life. And it caused me in my own journey through menopause to say, not what's wrong with me as I go through the journey, but what's strong about me, what's emerging in my life, not just what's falling away. So I can deal with these symptoms as I go through transition without pathologizing myself. And so it's a beautiful reminder to me that I get to choose what I can do to foster my best well-being and my best future self when I'm 70. What I do today matters then.
This is really incredible because you hear so much negativity that is surrounded by menopause or women aging and ageism and everything else. And yet this entire show is about embracing it and promoting yourself and enjoying life to the fullest because you are qualified and you've earned it, basically.
When I talk to women who get to their 50s, sometimes they're like, I don't have a purpose. And so they're not really sure. And I have to remind them that even if you've been a stay-at-home mom for 20, 30 years, you've been cultivating these executive leadership roles. Yep. If you've dealt with teenagers, you've dealt with some serious conflict resolution, right? If you've managed a budget and made meals night after night, you really understand resource allocation. And so when I remind them that just because you were a stay-at-home mom, and this feeling that I'm not enough in my 50s because I'm no longer fertile. So how could I possibly be an entrepreneur? Who am I to do that? I'm like, just listen up in terms of what our evolution says about your magnificence in this stage of your life.
And I think it's really important that you say this about women who are stay-at-home moms or work part-time or whatever. They actually do have the skills. They have learned these skills to run their household, to run their children, to run their lives, but they don't look at it as negotiating. They don't look at it as budgeting. They don't look at it as having skills that can actually run a company. And you mentioned the word purpose. I want to go back. You use the term purpose. You also use the term purposepreneur. I want to talk about it. What does it mean? And what do you mean by generative entrepreneurship? And how is it different from traditional entrepreneurship?
So when I started my business and was in a coaching container, I was told I had to say this was about the money. And I'm like, it's not. I'm doing wealth management because I know I can fill a gap and this is purpose and legacy for me. The profits matter and making money for sure, but I wasn't driven by the margin. I was driven by mission, which is really generative entrepreneurship. It looks at down the line where you're planting a tree and putting shade where I'm never going to sit under it. And so the changes I know I'm making are probably a few generations away in terms of the impact. And so instead of a return on your investment, it's the return on what is the impact. Traditional entrepreneurship is really about going in and extracting the most at the highest profit margin. Generative leadership is more like a garden. I'm planting a seed. I'm looking at the soil. I'm wondering what ecosystems does this plant need to thrive? And how will I be able to share the abundance of this garden with the people that I serve? And what impact will it have on that? That aligns more for women. I think just in our DNA from the years of caring for others, that's what makes you so prepared in your 50s to start a business.
That's amazing. And, feeling ready or good enough is often the biggest mistake. We always go through that. I'm not sure that I'm ready for this. I don't think I'm smart enough for this. And this is one of the biggest mistakes that we always make. And we need to create a legacy. So how has mindfulness helped you in your own journey when you started wealth management?
So I have a master's degree in mindfulness, pretty new. Mindfulness is often thought of oh, you just have to empty your mind and be zen and calm and cool. But it's actually probably the most foundational thing I've done in starting a business because it allows you to be with that stinky thinking. I'm not good enough. I'm not credentialed enough. Somebody else is already doing this. I don't have a business degree. Yeah, that's normal. It's called the self-critic. It's going to come up whenever you do anything new. And when I tell people mindfulness helps you, this is the only pause I want you to leave the show with, not menopause. Mindfulness creates a pause long enough that you can really be with those thoughts that are stopping you from doing the business. And that you can be like, okay, is that a true statement? And can I pause, reframe, and maybe interject a new way of looking at it?
So we're going to have to pause
Okay.
because we have to go to commercial break. Please don't go away. We'll be right back with more.